going on, y'all? Let me just post this real quick. Alright, bet. We good, we good, we good. So what's going on? What's going on? Just wanted to drop through and discuss the clip. The clip I posted earlier, and just some reactions, just some responses to it. Try to have a quick dialogue if anybody was able to tune in. But tonight, I just want to, in response to that, talk about energy over words, energy over words, energy over talk, over the mask, over the representative, over what you want to get across, the parts that you try to communicate versus what's actually being communicated. So that's really the topic. The topic for right now. And the clip, to be honest, the clip kind of threw me at first. So I definitely had some feedback on how I was affected and how some of the other people got affected as well. Just kind of seeing some of the comments, some of the reactions. The original post I was looking at, some of the reactions there, some of the comments there. Some agree, some don't. Some people were turned off by it and things like that. So I just want to be able to give a quick kind of response about it, and then kind of be able to tap in with some people and see what the vibe is, see what the feeling is, because if you saw the video, if you saw the clip and things like that, likely it awakened one of two things. It either you aligned with it, where that's your sentiment, that's how you feel, and then, or it was off-putting to you. And there's a reason for either one. So when it comes to what I'm trying to get across, energy over words, meaning it's not necessarily what you're saying. It's what you're leading with, and what comes off first. So as far as the clip is concerned, it was a lady who was basically saying that she's probably going to be single for the rest of her life because she doesn't want to take care of somebody else. She doesn't want to take care of a man or remind him of how to. She said something like how to turn the oven on, or stuff like that, or basically she was saying she doesn't want to deal with a child, right? Which verbally makes 100% sense. Verbally, that makes sense. Nobody wants to take care of another person in an imbalanced fashion. Because in a sense, if you do choose a partner, you want to care for that person. You want to be there for that person. But you don't want to choose a child either. So if you do have structure and stipulations on what you think it means to be with a partner, what you think your responsibility should be, and what you're supposed to expect from somebody else. We all have the preferences. If that's the case, we're all entitled to our preferences and things like that. But like I say, when it comes to energy, the energy that was coming off of and how she led the conversation or how she led the video was based on leading with with negative. Jira says we choose depending on the level we are on ourselves. Right, exactly. So when you have a situation where what's coming off of you is already inflamed, right? That conversation was led. It was led off with what I don't want, or I'll be single for the rest of my life because I don't want this. Well, that's not all there is. But when you are still in a position where what has happened to you rules you, and what has happened to you still resonates within you, you still vibrate with the frequency of everything that has happened to you, you get to a point where you start to expect that to be your future, to expect everyone to look like that, and that's a fear mechanism. That's almost, if you think about, if you got robbed a few times in a row, in the same year, if you got robbed like 10 times in a row or 10 times in a year or something like that, your automatic response as a protection, you may start to feel or start to size people up and expect people to take advantage of you, expect people to have your worst interests at heart, or expect people to rob you or to attack you or anything like that. You may start to feel that way. So with that being said, a lot of times when you maneuver through a lot of the same, and with full accountability, when you accept a lot of the same, right? Because let's be honest, you wouldn't know if you got to pick up after somebody unless you actually were in their house, or you actually dated them, or you actually were in a relationship with them. So there would have to be a point where you moved forward and accepted that person long enough to be up in their spot and to learn those types of habits. So that means that we have to also look at the fact that for us to have a record in our relationship timeline of a certain type that we now expect the world to look like, we had to welcome that in. We had to welcome that in. So what I don't like, I respect the words, because it's funny. I literally just did a reciprocity live like the day before, and then this drops, and it's based on reciprocation, and I get that. I get that. I mean, that's nobody's gonna argue that reciprocity is a key part of any relationship. Nobody's gonna argue that point. But you get what's owed to your energy. You don't get what's reciprocal or what resonates with your words. Not by themselves, which is why things like affirmations don't work solely. There has to be the feeling behind it. There has to be the energy behind it. You'll get nowhere if you are words over energy. It has to be energy over words, because eventually your energy is going to shift your words anyway. But your words come from your level of energy. You can see from the video, she led off with 100% negativity. She outlined a whole character of a man that she's probably dated several times, or a certain type that she dated multiple times. that didn't work out and that was super imbalanced. So we can't accept imbalance, but we also have to get to a point where we reject our past reality and we only speak in terms of our next reality until it becomes current. Even if it's hard to see, even if it seems improbable, unlikely, difficult, odds are against you, statistics, numbers, percentages, opinions, bitterness, commonality, social media, comments, you start to see a trend and a wave of a certain type of sentiment, and there's always somebody to meet you there. When it's negatively based, when it's fear based, you'll have thousands of people to meet you right there and echo that sentiment. You know, misery loves company. You'll always find somebody who wants to wallow in the negatives of their life. It's packed on that level. But when you are able to have a specific level of faith, when you're able to claim certain things that have not come to pass, when you start to really, when you find yourself at a point where you're able to say, I deserve differently, I deserve different than this. So not only am I not going to accept certain things, but I'm not going to broadcast the words associated with a reality I don't want. We have to come to that point. Yes, it's easy. Yes, you're angry. Yes, you know, there's a whole lot of people who will say, I feel you, girl. I like what you, I get that. I'm with that. And who will come behind it and it'll get tons of likes and comments. But that hasn't closed the gap. You'll feel exactly the same way. After all of that energy, and you'll feel exactly the same way afterwards, because you have not shifted anything. You have just released into the atmosphere verbally that everything that's happened to you negatively, and unfortunately, it's incentivized. Whereas if you want to walk the path towards what you want, the path towards what you deserve, you have that step may not be as filled, that step may not be as popular, that step may not be as supported, which is why you got to do it anyway, which should show you that that's the right path. It's the path less chosen. It's the unpaved. It's the one without the crowd and the you know, standing room only and the line wrapped around the corner. The one that is connected to what you actually want to get out of life. You have to be laser focused on that, and you have to recruit individuals who are like-minded. It's going to cause you to leave some people behind. But if nothing changes, nothing changes. So if you are angry at men and you make a video every night, that's not going to change men. That's not going to change your outcomes. That's not going to change your behaviors. It's not going to change the how soon you get to a point where you're able to meet somebody different. How could you possibly meet someone reciprocal and positive and healthy and healed with a video like that? And a lot of times when I see these videos, it's like, do you think you're gonna like shame taker mentality men into not being that way? Do you think if you cuss them out, if you shame them, if you belittle men who already don't want to be reciprocal, you think that activity is going to make them come to a realization that they need to be different? What is their motivation? They're getting cussed out anyway. People who are goal-oriented, people who are going to be, who want to be reciprocal, who want a partner they can pour into and reciprocate that energy, they are going to be attracted and connect to people who have similar energy. So a lot of times the people we ask for aren't even in the same wavelength that we're on. That's like listening to the radio and saying, I want to hear 96.1, but you want 100.8. That can never happen. You can never hear 96.1 if you're listening to 100.8. There's no two ways about it. I don't care if it's raining. I don't care if your antenna bootleg. I don't care what scenario there is. It's not a physical reality. And this is how energy works with us as well. You get what you emanate. You don't get what you ask for. You get what you become. And that's on every level of this game. So just want to throw some words and some feedback on that clip. I know some people had different things to say about it, but that's really what came up for me is just that, we have to be rooted and focused in speaking what we want to be, what's emerging within us, what we're becoming, not what we don't want. That's the easy way out. Anybody can complain about what they've been through. Everybody can externalize their hurts and say that it's everybody else. It's this specific gender. It's this specific area. It's dating in general. It's this particular race. It could be so many different things, and you're basically locking yourself energetically out of what you want and what you're asking for. So salute to everybody in the building. Definitely make sure you guys click the link in my bio. Join the next webinar. It's coming up on the 26th. If you know anybody who needs strategies, specific strategies, anybody who has anything to work through as far as abandonment, as far as just the dating life, lack of life purpose, mental health issues, physical health issues, anything like that, I'm chopping it all up on the webinar. So definitely click the link in my bio, check in with me. Whitney says, so you speak what you want opposed to what you don't, right? The focal point has to be the lifestyle that you want, the type of person you want, the person you want to become, and that's it. Because then you'll be able to draw ideas, epiphanies, breakthroughs, strategies, things like that. You'll be at a point where you start to you training your mind where to focus. If you constantly complain about things that happened before, you will repeat it, because that's your way of asking the universe for more of the same thing. Even if you say, I don't want this, you're still communicating that's the focal point. That's important to you. And that energy carries. Angry energy carries, frustrated, broken energy. It carries momentum, and it eats itself until you start to break that pattern. And that's what I'm going to be talking about too in the webinar, just how to break the pattern, specifically what to do on a daily basis to break their mindset, what to focus on versus what not to, how to break the pattern of self-doubt, how to break the pattern of dating toxic individuals, how to identify toxic individuals, right? How to not be in a state of regret, a state of focusing on lack, or how to deal with the process of trying to date, and then a lot of people being toxic, and then stepping out of the dating game and being unsatisfied and unfulfilled and lonely, being single. How to find your way into happiness and not have to live in double negatives or being in a catch-22. No matter what you do, you have to feel hurt, or you have to feel unfulfilled and negative, because that's not what life's about. Life isn't the lesser of two evils, and just living in a space where you're not able to be happy unless you're connected to somebody, or unless you have a certain type of partner, because that's what keeps the cycle going. The need, the unfulfilled or unhealed elements, or whether it's trauma, whether it's a bunch of relationships that didn't work, or abuse, or anything that you carry, and anything that's being that's making life difficult for you, causes you to want to fix it by being with somebody and connecting with a partner, right? But so that urge pushes you into dating, and it makes it harder to adhere to your standards, because if you, for example, if you feel an urge to eat, the more hungry you are, the less you're gonna adhere to your diet, right? So it's kind of like, if you're trying to be vegan, but you starving in an area where it's all meat foods or seafood and stuff like that, you're probably gonna break at that point, because your desire is causing you to not fulfill or not stick to your standards. Same thing with dating. You know what I'm saying? That desire says this is do or die. I gotta be with somebody. Internally, the fear of being alone, all these different things. I gotta be with somebody. You can be with somebody. You gonna hop in. You're gonna find somebody and be with somebody. You're gonna be with somebody, and they're gonna terrorize your life, because they weren't chosen based on their qualities and them fulfilling your standard. They were chosen out of desperation, and desperation attracts desperation. Brokenness attracts brokenness, and you'll find that there's 10 times out of 10 the person that you end up dating has internal similarities to you on the traumatic side, or as far as being unhealed in certain areas. A lot of those things resonate, and they may not be apparent at first, because, like I always say, the men and women, different people, any different people, but men and women deal with unhealed. Men and women deal with unhealed trauma differently. So, just because you may have been, this is just in general, you may have been abandoned by one of your parents. Your partner may have been abandoned by one of their parents. That may cause them to do things like be abusive or neglectful, or be a taker, or be a manipulator, or a cheater, right? All of these different things. It may not cause you to do things that directly hurt the other person, but it will cause you to do things that are imbalanced. You're going to endure, you're going to stay in and take stuff that you shouldn't take. You're going to deal with things you shouldn't deal with. You're going to be a people pleaser. You're going to give to that person without expecting something, or without requiring them to be reciprocal with you. You're going to do that unknowingly. You're going to do it like it's second nature, and it's going to hurt you in the end. It's going to put you right back at square one. Fear of being alone, you're going to be right back alone. Or what's worse, you're going to feel alone in a relationship. That's insult to injury, because you'll actually be alone, or you'll be physically connected to somebody, but not be fulfilled by that companionship, and could be experiencing abuse and having to focus on pleasing that person in a relationship. You know what I'm saying? So we have to really we have to realize that we are the agents or the drivers of our own cycles. There's no outside person that can stop our cycle. We have to be the driver, the conductor, the person that is taking steps continuously and consistently to stop our cycle of abandonment, and to stop ourselves from constantly attracting the same types. Because you got to understand, how can you go through so many, how can life be so bad for you, but the one thing you're good at is attracting the same type of person over and over again? You couldn't do that at the casino. You couldn't do that at getting a lottery ticket. You can't win that many times in any other context except for dating. How is it that you that nice? How are you that good and that precise and accurate? Only with attracting and finding yourselves in the same type of relationship over and over and over again. Right? Like, are we that good? No, we're that powerful. But the power works against us if we are not pushing that power in the right direction. If we are not steering it in the right direction. If it doesn't have a direction. If we're walking around just automatically doing things in a remote or just a rote daily mindless compulsive type of way, then we're basically saying that we're allowing all the brokenness within us from years ago, from childhood, to run our lives from behind the curtain. And I need you to know how scary that is. You don't want your subconscious mind to just run the show unless it's programmed properly. And only we can do that. Only we can do that. That doesn't happen automatically. That's not something where it gets better with time. Or my parents abandoned me, but it's been years, so I'm good now. I'm over it. I don't think about my ex no more. I don't even want that. A lot of times we think that's us getting over what caused it. We think, we go to get in a bad relationship. And then when we get to the point where we feel like, well, just because we don't think about our ex anymore, in that way, right? In a romantic way, or just because we don't cry no more, that we're over that person, or that we're over the brokenness. The brokenness is what led you to them. The unhealed elements led you to that person in the first place. So why would we think that when the relationship ends, that we've healed it up, that is good, just because we're not dating for a year, 2 years, that everything is healed up, everything's sealed up after that, right? We've taken our time. What's the prescribed time to heal abandonment trauma? Somebody put it in the chat. There is no time, because time only keeps the momentum going. As long as you act the same, do the same, think the same, and you keep everything in a similar motion habitually, you're maintaining that. You're maintaining it, and a lot of times making it worse, just making it even worse. The more bad relationships you get into for years at a time, you are compounding the internal fracture. You are making that hurt worse and worse and worse, to the point where it's going to be harder and harder to get out. You're digging yourself a deeper hole every time. And we think it's healing, right? We think we feel a little bit better because we can claim somebody claim us. We in something. We good. We done. We're secure now. No. And then when we realize we're not, we try to stick it in longer. We try to stay in there longer just to justify. Just to make ourselves right? Because we don't want to look. We don't want to look. A lot of times we get afraid of the fact that we don't know what we're doing. A lot of times I'm speaking to somebody tonight, in between your own ears, right? Behind your eyes, nobody else may know. But there's some shame sometimes, and some real fear about the fact that we can't seem to choose properly, and we seem kind of out of control, just from a pendulum scale. Some of the people that have been chosen in your life, you wouldn't help them out of house fire. You wouldn't piss on them if they was on fire right now. So but then how did you get to a point of loving that person? Because that's you. That's you. Your worst relationships are not your ex. Those are you. Each time, snapshots. reflections. That's you. That's you. That was you. So, because ugliness and unhealed, and not to say anybody's ugly. What I'm saying is the ugliness of the hurt, right? The fear. It's like a virus. We've all grown up with something not going right. So then we walk around 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, growing up with this dark energy that you can't go to the doctor to get rid of. You can't sweat it out. You can't listen to music. You're not going to shake that unless you have a specific plan to do so and are consistent and committed. The same way you want a partner to be committed to you. You got to be committed to that. So join me. You know what I'm saying? Hit the link. Check me out. The webinar is going to be on the 26th. So once you click the link in the bio, you'll see all the details. You'll see everything I'm going to cover. Even if there's something on there that you want to cover that's not on there, I give time for people to give their specific situations and get specific feedback. This is the season to actually heal. This isn't the season to use the buzzwords, to play games with it, to think it's just we're gonna sleep this thing off, or we're gonna try to force ourselves to choose differently. These are elements of our being that need to be shifted specifically with a specific target, specific strategies, and a blueprint to carry with you for your life so that you can have control over activating unconditional lifetime happiness, not conditioned on a partner, not conditioned on a specific job, not conditional on a whole bunch of things to where your mood constantly swings back and forth every day. But that's something that you can maintain, and when you have a drop, you can get yourself right back to baseline and fly in that cruising altitude on a daily basis and have total control over your happiness and your energy, which speaks louder than your words do, right? And that energy will attract and continuously put you in the spaces you need to be in. Your perspective will help you interpret life around you and draw the advantages from it. We can't keep living where our only good days are when nothing bad happens, or our only good days are when good stuff happens. It's too random. Because enough bad things happen in a week, you might be depressed or suicidal. We can't leave the odds up to chance like that. Nor can we leave ourselves up to chance when it comes to choosing partners. Because if I'm being honest, it's life or death. A partner can take you out of here. Just go on Google and just search boyfriend or girlfriend kills, partner kills, spouse kills. We cannot afford to choose wrong. We are gambling when we are choosing wrong, when we're choosing just based on what our urges are, or what our old version is asking for, because that old version is only asking for a specific type of partner. You're only attracted to a specific type of partner now because from a sense of safety. A lot of times, if we've been hurt enough, the right person looks more scary than somebody you know is going to abuse you or treat you wrong. Which is why it's so easy to fall into those relationships. It's familiar. It's easy to predict. You know they lying. So you kind of know everything that's to come. You know the character. The right person would be the scariest thing on the planet. Because then the responsibility would be on you to control yourself, for you to maintain a relationship with a healthy, healed partner. How many of us are in that space? Some of us are. How many of us are in that space to be able to safely say, if I met the one now, if I met the one today, would I scare them off? Or would I be accepting? Could I move forward? Could I maintain a relationship with the person who has all of my qualities? Or is it safer? Is it safer to choose somebody I know can't fulfill my needs, so I can complain every night, so I can hop on Instagram and create videos every night, so I can hop in these different chats, groups, and texts, and so I can constantly remind everybody else how terrible men are? Is it easier to do that? Because at least you have an audience then. When it's time to grow, you'll start to realize the audience shifts. Some of your friends ain't gonna be with it. Some of your friends are gonna root against you. Some people might not understand what you're trying to do. You're gonna find some snakes in the grass. You're gonna find people who are insecure and who hate your growth. You're gonna find particular partners and stuff like that don't want nothing to do with you. People that you might have been talking to in the past. You're gonna find life shifting in favor of your growing and emerging self. And if you're scared of that, then you just gotta stay home. You gotta stay home and make videos about how you gotta take care of men, and all men, you just gotta take care of them and pick up after them, and like we're all infants. If that's where you want to stay, because that's easy. But I challenge you to commit to yourself, to commit to growth. It's the best possible choice you can ever make, because you choose it every day. And all of this is similar to the person that you want. You want that partner to choose you every day. You want that partner to nourish and pour into you every day. So why you ain't doing that? How committed are you? We all want this committed partner. I want somebody commitment. How and in what ways have you committed to yourself? And for how long? This is lifetime talk, man. And I'm kicking it to you real, because I care about what happens to you. I care about how on some of the, I know for a fact this life thing ain't easy. It's not easy, but it can be if you're committed to the version of you that is emerging. So shout out to all of y'all, man. Appreciate y'all coming through. Tap in with me, hit the link in my bio, if anybody's interested in joining the webinar, having the talk, man. I did like maybe two. I think I did two before this. It gets very deep in there, but we get to the goals, we get to the specifics, we get to the strategies, and I created the blueprint to carry, so that you know what the hell you're supposed to do on a daily basis, right? To go backwards and to reverse this. Sunkist says, when's the webinar? It's June 26th. So you can just, after this, just click the link in my bio and you'll see all of the details on there. Definitely would love to have you for sure. And I'll also be providing a way to gain support afterwards as well, because like I said, it's a lifetime journey, and I want to introduce you to the blueprint and make sense out of this stuff as well. Give you guys some self-awareness, some tips and things like that, but also give you a chance and a way to for us to connect on an ongoing basis, just so you can have the accountability, partnership, you can have the the feedback on your specific issue, on your however your unhappiness, unfulfillment, trauma, however that manifests with you specifically, I can give you specific feedback and support with that. So definitely check it out and shoot me a direct message, anybody, if you have any questions about it. I'll be talking more about it soon in the coming days. But yeah, if anything, if you leave with anything today, just be sure to start the process of identifying how you want this thing to look, how you want your life to look. Who do you want to be with? Where do you want to be? Where do you want to go? Who do you want to become? What do you want to work to start working? What things are not working that you want to work? What things you want to work on? You know, what maybe mental health. What are you think negatively? Are you a perfectionist? Do you isolate? You know, when you're having an issue, you isolate. When somebody else has an issue, you're there. You're the go-to person. You always show up for everybody else. Nobody shows up for you. Are you in that dynamic? Are you a people pleaser? Are you in that dynamic? Are your romantic relationships all in balance? Do you give like this and you get this back? You know, is it like that? We can fix all that. We fine tune it, get rid of that for good. You know, so we're gonna start the repair process. So thank you guys for coming through. If anybody's watching the replay, appreciate you viewing, and be sure to tap in with me. Check the link in the bio. Come through to the class, man. Love to have you.